Welcome back to Comic Book History, episode 74. Who am I discussing for this one? And yes, I realized though it's been 3 months since I did my last one, because I didn't know what I was discussing next. And I did check, and I made sure of this, that I didn't discuss this character before, but why not? Why not discuss one of the most prominent female superheroes in Marvel comic books? That character is Laura McKinley, aka X-23. Yep. X-23. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who initially first appeared in an episode of, get this, a cartoon TV show known as X-Men Evolution. Yeah, she made her debut in the third to last episode of season 3. Yes, seriously. That's when she first showed up. And you're thinking, really? She first showed up in a cartoon. And as far as I know, she is the only character. Actually, she's one of two characters I can think of who are prominent characters in the Marvel Comic universe who made a debut first in a cartoon TV show. Do you know who the other one was? Firestar. Yes, Firestar. A lot of people tend to associate with her with the Spider-Man Amazing Friends TV show. A lot of people, casual fans, don't know she's in the comics. She's been in the comics since the 80s. And she mostly did stuff. Laura McKinley was something very similar to that. And then 1 year later, she showed up in Marvel Comics in a series known as NYX, which was written by, I kid you not, this is by far one of the most baffling things I've ever seen. The series was written by Joe Quesada. I'm not kidding about that. He frickin' wrote the damn thing. And you're thinking, really? He did? Yes. Yes, he did. And she first popped up in issue 3, appeared in that miniseries. She appeared in the follow-up one, No Way Home. And then right after this particular series wrapped up, where did she appear next? Uncanny X-Men. Yep. First appeared in issue 450. Well, kind of yes. Though, technically you could say her next chronological appearance right afterwards was actually in a series of like one shot. Well, actually, yes. They pretty much like put her in the X-Men right after her first volume wrapped up, which is written by her co-creators Chris Yost and Craig Kyle. And pretty much after appearance in, well, Uncanny X-Men for a quick 2-part story arc, which saw her meet her, or basically her father for the first time in the series, Wolverine. At the time when this came out, she was considered to be his clone, and they were kind of confused exactly where she states. Like, at some point she's referred to as his sister, and then currently she's referred to as his daughter. Yeah, it was been kind of confusing over the years when it comes to Laura. Though, up until 2015, she was regularly referred to as X-23. And after another, like, one-shot and I think a second miniseries, she later popped up in New X-Men. Yep, New X-Men. Which, here's the thing. The book was not originally written by, well, Chris Yost and Craig Kyle. Oh, no. Denzel DePhillips was the original writer for the book. Yeah. He left right after... yeah. He pretty much left right after issue 19. Yeah, it was right after the M-Day issues. And it was during this particular run that when Chris Yost and Craig Kyle came on board, that is when she joined the new X-Men cast. Yep, and she also developed an attraction to one of the prominent characters of the series, Julian Helion, who's also known by his codename, Helion, and the leader of the group known as the Helions. And the group got their own miniseries. Yeah, she was added part of this trainee squad because all the other squads were disbanded and basically what happened though in issue 20, Emma Frost had a good idea to have these kids beat the crap out of each other, and whoever survived became part of this new trainee squad. And most of these people were from the Hellions. Like, I'd say, like, maybe, like, one or two got eliminated. And, like, you had, like, a couple from the New Mutant squad, which were the most prominent squad in the New X-Men series. And then she was pretty much part of the group up until the final issue, issue 43. Excuse me. Where a lot of the time, basically, the group had to deal with, like, teenage romance. And also frequent jealousy of Hellion, where at one point, the one who, Surge, who, by the way, I should point out though, with the exception of Laura, a lot of the characters from New X-Men have really done jack frickin' squat since the series. Hellion has occasionally popped up since then, but what about the rest of the cast? Well, Elixir at one point died, and now is part of the Five. Yes. Yeah. Also in that very same issue, when Laura joined the team, they killed off Icarus. Who is Icarus, you might ask? He's Cannonball's brother. And probably a lot of casual comic fans didn't know Cannonball had a brother because he didn't appear very much in the comics. He got killed off like within like a couple of years after his debut. There was also Surge. She, as far as I can tell, she's another one of those characters who have done virtually nothing. Yes, a very prominent character in this series, and then, like, for some strange reason, they decided to basically just do nothing with this character. I'm not kidding about that. She has done virtually, well, not much. Yeah, because you ever heard her actually taking part of anything since New X-Men did? Not really, no. Mostly she just there as a background character. Yes, a prominent character from New X-Men. And yet, they have her do virtually nothing. Like, yes, Surge, who is practically the female lead of the series, has done nothing. Yeah, a great character. I like the character, except that they just did virtually nothing with her. Winddance at one point died, though she came back. I think it was Wildfire died, and then she came back to life. Wither left the series after issue 25, and then he got hooked up with Selene, and then, well, he later became a villain in the X-Force series, which I'll discuss that soon, and then he later died. He got killed by Elixir. And by the way, when he made out with Selene, she was the first person he ever did it with where it didn't turn to ash, because Wither had this weird thing whenever he touches people, they turn to ash. And you're thinking, wait, does that sound like Sasagaraki's move from My Hero Academia? Very similar move, except that he first showed up in 2015. This guy showed up in freaking 2005. Yep. Dust herself, she's another character who's from that series. Great character. I love this character too. And she became part of the most race thing that she was part of. And this is like, as of like the last like couple years. The other part of Champions. Yeah, she was a prominent character in the previous volume for the series. The current volume, she was there like at the start of it. She hasn't done much since then. But yeah, that's interesting to say the least. Mercury decided to start a relationship with Roxy. Or at least Bling. Yes, that is the name of the character. She started a relationship with her that went nowhere. I mean, wow. It's like, here's another character. Great character. Love this character too. And nothing. No, seriously. There is like nothing she has done. Yeah, she started a relationship with Bling, and then she just did nothing. What do I mean by that? Well, she literally has done nothing. Yes. Is she part of some group now? Currently? No. She is another character, one of these great characters that was introduced back in 03 And a character who, like I said, does nothing. No, seriously. A lot of the characters who popped up in the pages of, like, New X-Men just do, like, nothing. Blank was at least an interesting character. She's probably like one story arc for X-Men Legacy, but that's pretty much it. At one point, she was able to have a crush on frickin' Rogue. But she was recently part of the short-lived Fallen Angel series. A series I was okay with. Wasn't all that big fan of it. I consider it to be kind of one of the more weaker books of the X-Men books. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But in the case of like a lot of the other ones, like a lot of them pretty much do nothing. Yes. And if you think about it, Laura is the only character who made her debut for the period of 2000 to about 2005 who still does something. Yeah, she's the only one who does. And as soon as the series wrapped up, she later appeared in another series by Chris Jones and Craig Kyle, X-Force. An excellent series that mostly put for this book was just a lot of like setup for two future crossovers. Instead of for Neurosha, they built up from the very start of it, and there was also some mild background stuff set up for Second Coming. They, of course, got involved. Now, I should point out that prior to this, Laura got cooked up with her very first crossover, Messiah Complex. Yes, she didn't play a really big role in the crossover. Excuse me, but she was at least there. And this is where this version of X-Force first showed up in the pages of this very crossover, and she was still part of the team even afterwards. They were a secret Black Ops team, and she was prominently part of the team for the first 25 issues. And then she was removed from the roster by her own father in order for her doing her own thing. And what was her own thing? Got her own solo book. Yep, she got her own solo book. Her first ongoing series by Marjorie Liu that lasted for 21 issues. Really good series. I personally loved it. When it was coming out, I loved reading it. I own the trades. It even had a crossover with her brother, Dakin. Yeah, he himself was confused about how the thing, like he thought it was possibly her aunt. Like, he thought that she was like his aunt. They later changed to be like siblings, per se. That's confusing. You see, and at the end of the series, of this really good series, mind you, by the way, the whole series is in trade. And she also, a lot of the time, would work in the series with Jubilee and Gambit. Yep. They became pretty much supporting characters in their own solo book, along with Jillian Heller, who, toward the end of the series, they decided to do something really stupid. Like, they have her finally kiss Jillian Heller, something that fans of this relationship have wanted to see ever since they first met. And then she says, I don't have feelings for you anymore. And that was it for the relationship. So after 7 years, 6-7 years of this relationship being around, somewhat here and there, and it's dropped. Yes, I do agree that this was a stupid idea on the part of Marvel at the time, and I still felt as though this was really stupid part of the writing. I don't know if this was Marjorie Liu's idea, or this was Marvel editorial not putting Laura in a relationship and not taking the character seriously. Yes, so, like, okay, what happened with her right after the series ended? Well, she was offered a position at the end of the series, but the series included guidance with the character. So she was off place with the X-Men, Fantastic Four. Well, actually, she was off with place with Future Foundation. I think also at one point she was off place with the Avengers. So she's had to appear in Avengers Academy. Yep, she joined Avengers Academy with issue 23 and was part of the group up until the series finale, which, hey, at least got to praise the fact she's part of school. And this was pretty interesting for her. It's like her back being at school again. First time since the new X-Men book. Yep. And then she appeared in Avengers Arena, a book that nobody liked at all. Like, I remember when this book was coming out. where this book got a lot of hate when it came out, especially since this book was basically about killing characters. Heck, even brand spanking new characters who debuted for this very comic book. And you know the dumb thing about this series? See, she was kidnapped from the Avengers Academy by, of all people, Arcade. Yes, frickin' Arcade. A long-time X-Men kidnapped her, the State Avengers Academy, like Nico and one of the members of, I think it was Chase Steen from the Runaways. Heck, he even kidnapped frickin' Darkhawk. A character, like, basically kidnapped a bunch of teenagers just to kill each other. And, like, a few of them have since been confirmed still be dead, but she survived this series. And did she take part in the follow-up series Avengers cover? No. I guess some people at Marvel must have thought they'll put her in that book was a big mistake. So, like, okay, we have her kind of rejoin the Avengers Academy at the end of the, like, well, she technically does rejoin the Avengers Academy. They do, in fact, liberate these kids. They're rescued by S.H.I.E.L.D. And does she go by Avengers Academy? It's implied that she does. And then she pops up in the pages of All New X-Men by Michael Bendis. This was during a period of time. This is Advents of Access, mind you. Yes, Access. Avengers vs. X-Men. A crossover that is one of the most hated crossovers in recent memory. Like, oh my gosh. Like, the hatred for this crossover was so big. Yes, I remember this very well. Yes, I know for a fact it's been 9 years since this had been happened. Like, Marvel did something really kind of odd for this series, and I remember they promoted the series really well. It's not like when they were Secret Empire, where they had people display Nazi paraphernalia, which I thought was really stupid on their part. I figured that later. AVX was this thing where you have the Avengers and the X-Men fight each other over the Phoenix Force. Yes. It's a crossover that, yes, there was some build-up to it, mostly from the X-Men side. Not from the Avengers side, mind you. Oh, no. That's the weird thing about it. Like, the Avengers side, from this perspective of this crossover, had zero build-up. And, you know the weird thing about this crossover is, in the 12-issue Max series when it's coming out? This book had 5 writers on the book. You have people like Jeff Loeb, Jason Aaron, Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker. Really good, talented writers. And, like, they took turns writing every issue, which I thought was kind of weird. I think even Kieran Gillen took a shot at writing an issue. And, like, what do people remember of the series, aside from the fight between the X-Men and the Avengers? The death of Charles Xavier, and the stupid, stole the whole thing of ending the marriage of Storm and Black Panther. Which, yeah, here's something kind of weird about that. Like, the death of Charles Xavier overshadowed that, and that happened in the previous issue. Issue 11. They know about the marriage happened in issue 12. Yes, so, of course, right after, of course, this book, of course, Avengers Arena. And then she popped up in the All New X-Men series. Yeah, All New X-Men, now originally, it was basically the original 5 X-Men who were being tutored by Kitty Pryde, who prior to that point had been the head mistress of the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning. Yeah, this was something that apparently Wolverine came up with in 2011, like a year after its coming. Basically, it's a schism. So, X-Men split in half during this period of time. And the X-Men split for over a year. Like, and they kind of merged back together after Avengers vs. X-Men because the Utopia X-Men disbanded after this crossover. Yes. So, like, she was part of the all-new X-Men cast when they decided to advance a Battle for the Atom. Yes, Battle for the Atom, which was a really good crossover, by the way. Which is mostly put a crossover that kind of was the 50th anniversary of the first appearance of the X-Men because they went back to Cape Citadel. And after this crossover, Kitty Pryde took the original 5 X-Men and basically defected to Scott Summers' team. Yeah, this is when Brett Bendis was running the team because advance of AVX, like, he was in prison and then he broke out. And then him, Emma Frost, Magic, Colossus' beautiful sister, and Magneto formed their own separate X-Men team. And they were based out of a place that Wolverine never thought to look for them. The Weapon X facility. Yes, the Weapon X facility became the headquarters, became the main base for the new Charles Gray, the new Charles Xavier School for Higher Learning. A weapons testing facility became a school for them. And she became part of the team. At that point, she was from partial amnesia. And then Bendis did something really weird with her, because this is not long after she became part of the team, and she at one point the group got kidnapped by, I think it was the Purifiers, and I remember in the storyline where at one point one of the female villains was so close to Jean Grey in the story where her hands were. It's almost like the way the artwork depicted it, it's like basically this woman really wanted to strip Jean Grey butt naked. Yes, seriously. And apparently didn't know that Laura was there, so they basically broke them out. She, of course, got a brand new costume. Yes, by the way, after the event, she kept sporadically changing costumes. When she was part of the new X-Men squad, she wore a dress. Even on the combat, and then she got a blue a trainee costume, official one, and she had this up until the new X-Men Suspended. And when she joined X-Force, she got a gray and black costume, which she kept even when she had her own solo book. Yeah. Though, here's something quite weird, though, about the costume. It took her to issue 10 to put on the damn costume. Though she wore pretty much the rest of the series. And then after the series ended, she still kept the costume. And then when she joined, of course, when she joined the all-new X-Men squad, she got a costume similar to theirs, but the whole lines thing, and her outfit was white with brown. And the Bendis did something really kind of odd with her. They had her basically hang out with the teenage Angel, where they go to his beach house, and it's implied off panel these two had sex. Yes, Laura McKinley, who at this point was a partial amnesiac, had sex with a teenage Warren Warrington III, a character who was presumably present in his mid-30s. A Time Dispatch version. And then after she found out her father passed away, this is also during the period of time when she found out he passed away. So what she decided to do, she decided to dye the bottom of her hair in honor of her late father, blue and gold. And she was like this up until, for about a year. And then after the events of Secret Wars, which, by the way, at the end of the all-new X-Men series, that's when they had this stupid revelation outing Iceman as gay, which I still think is so stupid. Yes, and apparently Hickman decided not to undo this at all, despite the fact it is so stupid. But what did Laura do after all new X-Men did? Well, she was part of the following volume and got another ongoing series by Tom Taylor, which became Wolverine. Yes. Now, this is another series I personally loved, lasting 35 issues, though with issue 19 she changed her costume to a costume similar to her costume when she was part of X-Force, or a gray costume. And throughout this book, she basically discovered she had some other clones of her. One, of course, had to be Gabby, who was by far a really good character, and she later on adapted the name Honey Badger. At one point, she didn't have a healing factor with Sirius, so did Gabby. And then she discovered she did have a healing factor right after she met a older version of her late father, the old man Logan, who, by the way, also has his own solo book at this point in time. Yep. This is another book I felt as though was really good. And then the book ended after 35 issues. She, of course, later popped up in the Hunt for Wolverine storyline, where she was Wolverine again. And then something really stupid happened. Right after all the Wolverine wrapped up, and after appearance in, I think it was one of the Hunt Wolverine tie-ins. It was the one that had the New Avengers. Let's see, it was, I can find it here. The Antimanium Agenda. Yeah, she popped up in this book, which was really good, by the way. So, right after this, they decided to go back to being X-23. I hated this idea. Like, I had no problem with the writer. She's a good writer. I love her work. But this is Marco Tamakai, who wrote the book. Who, by the way, fun fact, current writer of Detective Comics currently. Yes. I thought the book was pretty good. One thing I hate about the book, her being X-23. That was really stupid. That was a step backwards in her character development. She did briefly resume the identity of Wolverine for the X-Men Red series, which was a really good series. They got canceled in 11 issues. This is also one of those times. This is a period of time where, let's have these like color series. Like we have X-Men Gold, which is basically a continuation of Extra X-Men. We have X-Men Blue, which is the only X-Men roster plus a few new people. Which Laura's not part of this group, as far as I can tell. No, she wasn't. And then, of course, after having a relationship with Warren for about a couple years, like 2 or 3 years, like, they broke up. Yep, they broke up. Probably because of the age difference. It's possible. Then, of course, like, right after, like, X-Men Red wrapped up, then she got involved with Krakatoa, where she was still X-23 and was part of the Fallen Angel series by Brian Hill. A series I thought was okay. Got canceled quickly at the 6 issues. She then appeared in... Well, she later on, just at the series concluded, of course, to take place before, she popped up in the previous line for X-Men by John Hickman, where she finally resumed her identity as Wolverine. Excuse me, where Cyclops like, oh, yeah, you have some powers to Wolverine. I'm like, yeah, of course she does. She's Wolverine's daughter. And she's like, I am Wolverine. And Wolverine's like, you tell him, kiddo. Yeah, that's basically her father basically just accepted the fact she's also Wolverine as well. And she still kept identity Wolverine. Got a new costume, which, don't mind the costume. She didn't do very much in the book. And then, like, then she brought up some stuff where she was, like, in a relationship with, like, I think it was, like, some other character. And then at the end of that volume, she became a prominent part of the main X-Men team. Yes, this actually happened just this year. Like, exactly 17 years after her comic book debut, she basically was added part of the main X-Men roster, which at that point, of course, according to the book, the current X-Men book, X-Men Volume 6, is written by Gary Duggan, which is a really good book. And it feels like a team book, despite the fact the previous volume felt like a sporadic rotating roster with Cyclops in every issue. And that's pretty much it for Laura. Despite the fact she got her identity back as Wolverine, no series for her for some strange reason. I don't know why. Yes. Now, here is something you might find interesting, though. Oh, yeah. At one point, she was Captain Universe for like a one-shot. Yeah, seriously. She was part of it for like a one-shot, and that was it. Yes. So, yeah, this are trade paybacks for her. You have the original NYX Wannabe series. You can catch her there. Let's see. There's also X-23 Innocence Lost, or you can find the complete collection, which is the NYX, the original miniseries plus No Way Home. There is also a complete collection you can find recently. You actually can probably far interesting finding this than other books. You have 2 volumes of complete collection, which collect the first and second volume, and then of course volume 3 for X-23. Plus, of course, like the crossover and basically a lot of other stuff related to her over the course of the last several years. Of course, volume 4 is entirely in trade. The old Wolverine was collected in 6 volumes. Volume 4 was collected in 2 trades. 3, if you really want to track these trades down, it's collected in 4 trades. Yeah. But there is some trades for her, so don't worry about that. I just kind of want to see something a little more interesting with the character. Oh, yeah. Also forgot to mention, though, like, after, her her father, like after her father, after the events of Death Wolverine, she became part of the Logan Legacy. She had an issue for that, and then she became part of the Wolverines series, where she lost control of her healing factor, and then she was restored back to normal. Yep. Though that series, I kind of felt this though. Still to this day, even though it's been 6 years since that series ended, I kind of felt this though. The series would never have proper. It never concluded. Just stopped after 20 issues. I kind of felt this though. This series was supposed to last longer, but Secret Wars ruined that. But I'll be reviewing more of that in the future. Yep. But not much to say about Laura McKinley. Great character. This is personally one of my favorite female superheroes at Marvel Comics. If you want to rank her, she's probably my number 2 behind Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Number 3, I would probably give it to... Would I give it to Storm? No, actually, I would give it to She-Hulk. Another really good character, doesn't get a lot of love. Well, not currently anyway. She's not a series anymore. Yep. So yeah, that's a particular review. And that's all I'm going to do videos tonight. And you might be asking, Nick, where is your Shaman King video? You might ask. Well, I'm saving that for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll discuss that. Maybe a comic corner or two, okay? You'll find out tomorrow, okay? Next video. Bye.